fine.
Yeah.
Are we recording, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Hello, everybody. Oh, jeez. Why do I keep doing that?
Did you hit yourself?
Well, I'm hitting the headphone, so it's not really. I mean, I won't feel it anyway. It's pretty much wooden, you know. Anyway, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outlawed Picks podcast. We're talking about UFC 293 today. Israel Adesanya is fighting Sean Strickland. I've done a war room about it. You can go and watch that. It's quite long. I went off on a few tangents, but it's less of a fight breakdown specifically and more of a conversation about martial arts in general, I feel. But, let me know your thoughts. And today we are sponsored by Hardy & Sons, our new favourite tea brand. So this is the hot cinnamon spice, which is... It's amazing. It's perfect for this time of year. You've got the Scottish morning, haven't you?
No, I got chai.
Oh, okay. You switched it up. Hardy & Sons. Go to hardy.com. If you use the code FULLREPTILE, you'll get 15% off. Really, really great stuff. Good prices, quality stuff, really good packaging as well. So if you want to buy, you don't know what to buy somebody and they're like, they drink tea a lot, I'm going to buy people tea. You get some nice tins along with it. And, of course, our friends at Elion. We love their products. We use them all the time. Fantastic gloves and pads and shorts and whatever else you need. They've got new shorts out, haven't they? The MMA ones.
Do. I'm waiting on my shipment of shorts and shirts and stuff.
Oh, you didn't tell me we were putting an order in from Elion. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be no shorts that fit me.
It has to match my gloves.
The smiley ones.
Yes, the smiley ones.
Yeah.
They are my favorite gloves ever.
Yeah, you jabbed me hard in the face with it today.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
Honestly.
sorry. It was because you said... No, that's not how I punched either. No, it's because you told Joe to go immediately after, not to do the feint. So in my head, you turned to me and we were gonna go. So I was thinking immediately after, like as soon as we started.
So I'm turning expecting a feint, and I turn and get a full face full of yellow smiley face glove, which was not something to smile about.
Oh,
no, it's fine.
It was pretty hard.
They really,
it made an impact. I felt horrible.
It did. And what I will say is to be on the giving or receiving end of an Elion product, it's pretty good.
I'm sorry.
It was lovely and cushioned. It just kind of, that slow motion punch on the Will Ferrell movie. What is it? The Campaign where he punches the baby. It was like.
That's what it felt like because as it was going out, I saw it got closer and I was like, oh no.
Didn't even try and pull it. Just let it go.
Late.
She's going to throw hot tea over me before the end of the podcast. I guarantee it. She's got it in for me today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I felt horrible. I
so
really
bad.
did.
You felt so bad that you're having a really good laugh about it right now.
Well, yeah, I'm more laughing of embarrassment of myself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. It was a lovely jab. So, yes, Elion Paris .eu. Is that the website?
No,
sure it is.
Or
is it .com? Is it .com?
ElionParis.com.
Okay, ElionParis.com. Make sure they've probably got that one as well. You probably just search Elion Paris and it will take you straight to this wonderful website. Go and get some of their products. Harney.com for great tea. ElionParis.com for great equipment, gloves, and all other kinds of face punching things. So we're going to talk about 293, but we might as well have a quick chat about the wonderful event that we've just had in Paris, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I've got the card pulled up here. It was just, the from the first fight, the atmosphere was amazing. It was bouncing.
You could just feel it from the TV.
Right?
I was just like, oh my God, how amazing. That's the first fight. I was freaking out about how awesome it is. And it was pretty good. It was just as awesome last year.
Yeah.
But to have it, because, in the UFC London, right? They had the really awesome show with Molly and Patty and Tom and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next one, it was kind of like, but it wasn't like the last one.
Yeah.
So there was this comparison and this kind of like expectation for it that I feel like people were a bit like let down. They acted like.
Yeah.
That was the overall feel of the atmosphere and everything. But in this, it was like if it never even happened.
Yeah, it felt like they were more prepared to be excited for this one because of the last one. You know what I mean? It was like the kind of energy had rolled over. They were like, yeah, here we go again.
Yeah.
And it was, every fight was good. I don't like. Was there a slow fight? Was there anything that? I don't think there was really. There were some fights where they were cautious. You know what I mean? Like the Lapillus locker room fight was quite tentative at times. You know what I mean? Especially because I think that there was animosity and it had become quite hyped up. And then Lapillus was just very sharp. He kept a very, very smart game plan.
I was so happy for Lapillus. I'm just gonna go on like a 2-minute tangent on how happy I am.
Okay.
For Lapillus. It was because 3-1 in the UFC and he gets cut for no reason. Okay, no reason. He's a very skilled fighter, very smart. He does some broadcasting things in France, so he's helped French MMA a tremendous amount. You know, one of the pioneers of the sport gets cut, does his whole way back, right? Because he fought on Aries, and it's just this whole thing of like, what do you do when you've been cut 3-1? Like, it's you weren't cut because you lost, so you come back a few wins and. It's just, they just basically told you they didn't like you.
Yeah, there must have been more to it than that.
Well, I don't know if there was.
But there's always two sides to it. There's going to be someone in the UFC that was like, yeah, the reason we quit him the first time was because of this. There'll be a reason for it. You know what I mean?
Sure. I don't know what that reason is. So I'm, as a friend outsider, I'm just like...
For sure. No, it makes no sense to us on the outside, but I wonder what it was. And, you know, and there's been lots of different circumstances where fighters have been released when, you know, when they
wanted to cut the 125 division.
Yeah. And Miguel Torres, they cut him, didn't they? Surely.
Yeah, there's another fighter that they cut that he was just like incredible.
Oh, the guy that you used to train with. They cut him as well. There was a guy that used to train with him.
John
Moraga.
Yes.
He's a good fighter.
What? He's a sick fighter.
Yeah,
He's a sick fighter. And very intelligent as well. Very soft-spoken. Anyway, and it's been like... Then to see him in Aries and all the support that he got, because I didn't think that he's not really out there in social media, right? He's kind of private as a person. And he had a lot of support and him sharing the moment with his mom and stuff. Then getting signed back to the UFC after, you know, not only fighting for the belt, but like defending it and stuff. And then having a hand injury when UFC Paris comes around. And then I saw him like across, because I was doing the other Aries show. So I just saw him in like the disappointment.
Yeah.
And then because his brother fought as well, so I spoke to him in the van, and he, you know, like, it was just, you could just feel it.
Yeah.
And then when he went and he fought and he won and the crowd was going crazy. It's 7 years since he got back to, just for me to feel, I don't know, I felt so happy for him.
Yeah.
Especially because he's an awesome guy that.
And it took him a while to match him on the card as well. There was a while where I don't think he felt like he was going to be on the card. So it was good. It was good. And, you know, and good to see Sharia make his UFC walk finally as well.
Got he's performance bonus.
Yeah. Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he got a bonus.
He's a good fighter. He's a lot of fun to watch. And the thing is, it's like, so you look at his record, it's 19-9-1 now. Like, he's got a lot of experience, but it's not the best of records, like 9 losses on his record. But if you've watched his fights on Cage Warriors and you see how he fights, you understand why he's picked up some losses. Like, he can be reckless and he is powerful. Sometimes he can expend energy when he shouldn't be. You know what I mean? But he's got to this stage in his career and finally just made his UFC debut. And I feel like everything's kind of come together. He seemed a lot more settled and a lot more comfortable. I think he's going to be, you know, become a bit of a star, really. I
think some fighters kind of have that. Some have a smaller record and they're a bit more precise with how they take the fights and, you know, straight more at it. And others are like, well, I'm kind of learning on the job as well. Not thinking so much, I need to preserve my perfect record. Yeah. And because of his style and the way he is, I just think he's kind of like that. But that's also why a lot of people like him.
Yeah. And Benoit St. Denis as well, when he walked out, that was... And what a performance, because Moises is a very, very good fighter. That was a standout performance. It was really good. I mean, and the thing is, you can see where his team struggle with him because, like, his nickname's the God of War. It's a bit like Darren Elkins calling himself the Damage. Like, if he gets to the end of a fight and he's not a bloody mess, has he done his job?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's but St. Denis is like, I don't know whether he's like that's his nickname and now he kind of tries to live up to it, or whether that's his nickname because that's how he is naturally. You know what I mean?
He's like Leonardo from 300. Like the French Leonardo.
You reckon, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, God of War.
Yeah.
Because
Was that his name? Leonardo? No.
No, what's
Leonidas.
his name?
Leonardo was a Ninja Turtle.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Me and names. Come on. That's
It's close
spot
enough.
on.
It's close enough.
And he just fought 2 months ago against Bonfim, which was the, up and coming from the Contender Series. He had that amazing UFC fight night with his brother, and it was like the next big thing coming. Chokes him out, and then calls on for Paris, and does that.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Hats off, dude.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Ozdemir looked good as well. He looked a bit more managed with his energy and with his range. It's an odd one because he's got scary power, Ozdemir has, but sometimes he just seems to fall behind in fights and not be able to. It's almost like when he starts to doubt himself, he starts to unravel a little bit.
Do you think it depends on where he's at with his personal life? Like sometimes I feel like maybe he's just come up. I don't really care.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna knock you out.
Maybe. So, what do you think to Rose and Manon Fiorot?
You still gonna ask after how much I've talked about it?
Well,
the whole fight, you're just like,
I want to share it with you guys.
Where will you be quiet?
There was not a moment where she was quiet through the whole fight. She was not necessarily cornering Rose, more yelling at her and telling her everything that she was doing wrong.
No, that comes off the wrong way.
In a supportive way.
No, it comes off the wrong way. It just comes out like I'm somebody who just sits on the couch and is like, oh, throw a jab. That's not how I meant it.
No, you weren't sitting on the couch. You were very animated. You were swearing a lot.
Anyway, because I feel like it was noticeable that Rose was technically the better fighter.
Okay. But we kind of felt like that going in, though, right? We felt like she was going to be the more technical fighter, but she was going to be smaller and she was going to be struggling to get around the long side kick of Fiorot. And
yeah, but she didn't barely even threw the side kick.
I know. Rose threw it a few times.
And it was great. What I felt like there was a lot of conversation in her own mind when she was fighting, and she wasn't fully present. Obviously, she had the thing with the finger, but it was kind of like what I was telling Jamie. In that point where it's so bad, you have to decide that you're not going to care anymore, or that you're going to care. Because if you stay kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it'll derail your train of thought in the fight.
For sure, but then how much control of that does she have? Like that's the thing. Like I agree. Like some fighters, they would have kept fighting and not realized their finger was broken. Other fighters would have realized their finger was broken and not been able to continue. Right? She's kind of somewhere between the two. Like she was aware her finger was broken, but she wasn't able to go, damn it, I've got others. I don't need it. You know what I mean? It wasn't or it wasn't like at the point where she acknowledged it, there's like a subconscious decision that she makes as how she's going to handle it.
Yeah.
Right? And some people would have been like, well, just cut it off and I'll carry on with the fingers that I've got. Right? That would have been some fighters' mentality. Or
well, like think of John Jones when he
dislocated his toe.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was
then
thinking.
when
or
Joe
was it Uriah?
pointed it out.
Was it Uriah dislocated and snapped his toe?
I don't remember.
Like I'm sure he did. He caught it on someone's elbow or something.
Hall of Famer.
And it was Uriah Hall, and it had like snapped and torn as well. Ew. I'm sure. It was bad, but it was like oh yeah, that happened. Do you know what I mean? It's like once she acknowledged it. It may have already been too late because she was like, oh no, my finger's broken. And then the acknowledgement of it being a bad thing as opposed to of a matter-of-fact thing kind of opens her up to the pain.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like if you get hit with a body shot and you're like, yeah, but that's not going to touch me. You've kind of got this shield where you can take something, like you can take pain more if you've got the right mindset.
Yeah.
Right? Like, snap it. Go for it. Like, I'm going to keep hitting you with the 3-piece arm, like a 3-sectional staff. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that's your mentality, then there's like a... And I just don't know... I don't know whether Rose got that. I feel like she was slightly undermined by the fact that she went, oh no, my finger's broken. Now I'm working against something else already, being the smaller fighter and fighting on her home turf, etc.
Why wasn't Trevor there?
I don't know.
That's like a big question I have. Why wasn't Trevor there?
I had not thought about it, actually.
Like the whole time, I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, where's Trevor?
Where? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
but it was like so. What does she do now?
It's not. Look, it's. I know she had that, but with the same amount of punches that she threw, she could have won the fight. So it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
According to UFC stats, she landed 2 more strikes.
Exactly. So with the same amount of punches, I just felt like she was moving on the outside a lot. Like, I'm faster than you. You might be buff and you might be really strong, but I can go in and out, right? I'm faster. But then she was kind of like tripping herself up before she got there. And Firo was kind of just waiting like a fly. You see a fly coming around, you just wait until bam.
I wonder if judges would change their judgment of a fight if they had the stats in front of them. So I'm just looking at this now, right? So overall, Firo landed 58 strikes of 225, 25% success rate. Rose landed 60 of 150, which is a 40% success rate. So she's landed 2 more, and she's thrown, 125 less, right? She also attempted 6 takedowns as well.
I think that's the part that made the judges go the other way. Because the way she went for the takedown, no, it's not because she failed the takedown. It's because when she went for it, she looked small in comparison to Firo.
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna go for a takedown, Firo defend it, and she was gonna circle around the back. Like, I thought she was gonna win by rear naked choke in a scramble where she went to the back, which she almost did once. But because she kind of got stuffed on the takedown and kind of, oh, okay, then now I'm back out. Then if I'm a judge and I'm considering damage, I'm like, well, if this girl hits her, it's gonna be worth 2 of what this other girl hits her with. Because there's a clear power difference.
So do you think, because Manon Fiorot is number 3 in the division?
Yeah.
Do you think Rose stays in the division now? Do you think she goes back? Like, I think Manon Fiorot, yeah, she did look bigger. I don't know as Erin Blanchfield would make her look as small as Fiorot did.
No, for sure. There's a lot of women
Grasso
in the.
Would.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the 125. Like, she went against probably the biggest 125er.
Yeah, but then you put her in there against someone like Macy Barber or, I mean, Jessica Andrade's in this division and she's already.
Yeah, but Macy Barber fought at 115. So did Jessica Andrade.
Yeah.
But Fiorot is kind of borderline 135. You see her on the scale. She was dehydrated like half to death, And Blanchfield looks like, she's not physically very cut in comparison to Fiorot.
So what do you think Rose should do? Go back down to
It just depends. She has the skill to compete, honestly, even in bantamweight. And I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but she's fast enough and she could beat a lot of bantamweight fighters. I have no doubt about it. Maybe not at the top of the division where they're really heavy. Yeah, but
she'd need more of a Chimaev kind of mindset though to do that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's why I think it depends, because if she finished the fight and thought, well, I just, I'm not big enough, then she's gonna go down to 125, to 115. But if she finished and she was like, you know what, I had the better skill sets to win that fight. I just approached it a bit with a foggy mind.
Yeah.
That's how I felt watching the whole fight. I'm like, I could see that Rose is faster. She's the way she was weaving in the punches, everything. The skill was there, and that's why I was kind of like animated yelling, because I could see that you're better, but you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Because you're tripping over yourself, and it might be it's a lot easier to see from the outside, right? From me looking at a screen, it's easier to see where she's tripping up. Because if you're there and you're feeling it, you're not seeing 2 people, you're seeing that one person in front of you.
But I feel like she would have been able to solve those problems if she was in a better mindset. She didn't. I don't know. I feel like the broken finger, and I feel like she was already probably kind of. What's the best way of explaining of saying this? Like, she already knew she was taking on more than she needed to, because she could have stayed in America and she could have fought in a place where she would have been able to be more comfortable and it be more familiar, and she wouldn't have stacked the odds against herself like she did,
but
moving up a
maybe
weight
that's
class
why
and going
she
to France.
thought to do it, right? Because when she went and fought Joanna, it felt like everything was stacked against her in the sense like there's no way you're beating this girl. When she fought Zhang Weili, it was kind of like, whoa, this girl's ginormous.
Yeah, maybe.
But
so,
then,
so maybe she thinks she gets her best performance in
when
those
she puts herself in that situation. But when before the fight started, you could look at her. If you put a side-by-side picture of her before she fought Joanna, for example, and her before she fought Ferro, it was like she was trying to get there a bit forced, but it didn't feel substance, you know? I don't know. She could do whatever she wants. She has the skill to do whatever she wants. It just...
Can Manon Ferro compete with the people above her? Blanchfield, Shevchenko, Grasso.
I think Grasso would be difficult for her to compete against because...
If she fought against Shevchenko, it looked like karate kickboxing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'd be interested to see in her versus Blanchfield.
Yeah. I'm kind of a bit disappointed because I would like to see Rose against Grasso. I think that'd be a really good fight.
But I just thought...
Probably a more competitive matchup as well for Rose than some of the other people to fight.
It's just always I feel like the issue with Rose, she has everything, but mentally sometimes.
Yeah, like Vitor Belfort, it was the same situation. Like, which version of Vitor Belfort do you get? Because one of them's a world champion,
and the other
one falls apart. Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, like if she was teetering, then she broke her finger in the first exchange, then she's gonna, turn against herself in her mind, if that makes sense. That's the way it kind of felt to me a little bit. But I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating. Maybe we're underestimating Ferro. Maybe she is.
No, she stuck to her game plan. She was smart.
But like
she
you
was
said,
accurate.
no,
but
I agree. That
from
I feel
the outside, it just looked like. And then she got to the point where she was moving a little bit like, when you're looking in the mirror and you're shadow boxing and you're sort of kind of feeling yourself. You're like,
yeah, look great.
Yeah, look at my movement. Look at my footwork. And then Ferro was not taken into any of the account. Bam, bam. That's it.
Bam, bam.
But the times where she...
Tuivasa.
Yeah, where she moved in and then Ferro threw over her shoulder. I'm like, use the footwork there.
Just to completely change the subject before we get onto the next card. Have you noticed that Bruce Buffer always fist bumps tied to Tuivasa twice? When he says bam bam, he goes bam bam.
Oh, no.
I noticed it the other day when I was watching his fights. Okay, main event. Cyril put on a spectacular performance against Spivak. I feel like that.
Robbed.
Huh? What?
They got
robbed. I know, that's bad.
Man.
Yeah, that's bad. Although I love it's like, they think the thieves were tipped off by someone close to him. What? Someone that told the thieves where he was going to be? Like,
who doesn't know who he
surely
was
every
gonna
poster every post they were walking about in Paris had the time and date of when he wasn't going to be in his apartment.
That was pretty obvious, and all his family's going to go watch him. Obviously,
that's a shitty situation for him. I hope he has some security footage so he can not necessarily get his stuff back, but just get a hold of those people.
Do you think he'd even do anything bad to them?
No,
he'd probably be
I'm
like...
sure he knows some people that would, though.
Yeah. Probably like, oh, come on, man. It's not good to steal.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Yeah.
That's how I imagine
Now my
Cyril.
boys are going to have to kill you. Right? I can imagine that being the situation. He'll leave the room so he don't get blood on his white shoes. Great performance.
Great.
Yeah. 11 strikes landed by Spivak compared to 109 from Gan.
Just outclassed him.
Yeah. I think he'll have the belt soon. I think he'll have the belt. I think he's got the movement if the fight stays long enough to cause John Jones problems. And you pointed it out as well, sometimes he still gets a bit reckless right at the end of fights though.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really
That's
don't
the bit
like.
he could do with just training with a heavy-handed boxer for a little while and just learning how to when it because stay on your toes for the whole time and be fast and agile and difficult to pin down. But then when it gets to that final bit, like he was against
Tuivasa.
Tuivasa. I mean, the finish was beautiful, but there was a point where it hurt him.
Yes.
And he was trying to finish him, and he's swinging full length arms hammer fists at him. And it just, like, in that moment, he's a big dude. Like, stop, settle down into your punch, and then start turning through.
Yeah, but I just think it's because, well, think about it. He's been training alongside Francis. And training alongside Francis, you're going to be told that you don't really have power in comparison. So I think in his mind, he's like, I don't have this Francis knockout power. So then that translates. So he probably doesn't train these big, heavy shots because he's always going to be the stick and move guy because he has so much athleticism.
Yeah, but he's the stick and move guy until he's punched someone in the face 100 times.
Then he needs to like do the Justin Poirier. You know when he pulls up his shorts, he's about to whoop you.
There's just a point where he needs to kind of shift through his gears, right? He doesn't do it. He stays up on his toes, which means he's like twisting through his midsection to generate power. Instead of like settling down, like he's 250 pounds.
Yeah.
He should be able to knock out everybody that's standing in front of him if he hits them in the right place with the right punch.
It's black belt movement, and then he gets really close, and then it goes to like yellow.
Gets a little bit excitable.
Yeah, just the way he throws punches. I don't know if it's
That's the bit that concerns me. That's the bit that concerns me because that's the bit where Jon Jones is on the inside hitting you with elbows, clinching you, and taking you down. If he can get that bit under control, where he's keeping that space, like we were talking about earlier, actually, where he's keeping that space between him and his opponent, then he'll be good.
Man, that interview, speaking of Jon Jones, when he was talking to DC, it popped up on my Instagram. He's like, you may take me down, but I'm going to use everything with like malicious intent to like kill you, basically.
Jon Jones is mean.
Dude, I was watching. That wasn't even directed at me, and I was scared.
We had a little impromptu sparring session on the crosswalk in New York after the PFL event. And I was just walking down to the deli and he was coming back the opposite way and he was like, we just had a little move around and a few little feints and stuff. And he said, have you still got that left hook? And he's like, yeah, it's a little bit slow now. And then we like clinched up and I was like, dude, like he is huge. Like just like clinched up with him. It's like he's like filled out massively. Especially
because he knows how to direct his strength.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are really strong, but they'll try to push somebody against with an overhook or something.
Yeah. He was great around PFL. Like all the fans, he had time for everybody. He was really good. He was in high spirits. I'm excited to see him back. But Cyril Gane looked very, very good. And to everybody there, the Paris fans, that it was.
You are so awesome.
Yeah,
please let me get on that car next year, and please all of you be there.
It was an amazing event, amazing. I can't imagine how loud it was there. It was coming through the TV, like my God, from the very first fight as well. So that's very, very cool. Okay, all right, let's switch over to.
Wait, real quick. Do you think it was a bit weird how the Tom Aspinall thing kind of played out, but it didn't?
Yeah, why did they not bring him into the cage? And the other thing that was weird as well was the end of that fight where there was the groin kick. Like because that it was on mute, so I wasn't really listening to what was happening. And I saw it happen and I'm like, hang on.
With William Gomez.
Has he been caught not having a cup? It looked like he didn't have a cup on. That was my first thought.
Yeah, is that what you said to me?
Yeah. It was like, I think he's being disqualified because he's not got a cup on. And I like turned mute off and I'm like, oh no, okay. Well, that's weird. It was a weird situation. Okay, what else? Are we moving on?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, Adesanya Strickland. We're of course, we're only going to do the main card because we're busy people. There's some good fights on the undercard though. John McDessie, Jamie Malarkey is going to paint the canvas red for sure. Always interested to see Hack Parast on here.
I feel like when Adesanya's on, it's always the same group of. You always have Blood Diamond, Jamie Malarkey, Carlos Oberg. He's always on it.
They should just not announce the card. They should just put Adesanya and supporting artists.
And crew. Yeah.
So we'll start at the Tyson Pedro Anton Turkalj fight.
Okay.
The Pleasure Man. Now we've talked about this before. Some people have some people have really, really bad Tapology pictures. That's bad. That's like they've been trying to get this photo for like 20 takes, and he's sick of screaming because there's people in the gym looking at him, wondering what the fuck he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
He can't curse.
Can I not?
No. You told me
I
off
can.
the other day for saying...
Well, that's because you were cursing a lot, though. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm exclaiming on the fact that his well, first of all, his nickname is the Pleasure Man. Second of all, his Tapology page is really odd.
It can't be worse than Mr. Finland.
No, that's
Amir.
no, but I think it's weirder.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like he looks like he looks like he's
just
taking
me,
a shit.
which
Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I look at it. It's like, is he?
we can't just bully people.
I'm not bullying. I'm just pointing it out. Come on, like if you've got a bad Tapology picture, fix it. Get a hold of them or something. But like that's not a good look.
Yes. Yeah.
And it doesn't help that was it Paul Felder on the commentary was like he just kissed him. He just kissed him with a clinch. His nickname is the Pleasure Man. He just kissed him in the clinch. Did you see that?
Many times.
Then they watched it back in slow mo, and he was like, "Nah." Like he might have actually tried to kiss him, but he wasn't doing it in a comical like, "Mwah." You know what I mean? Like it wasn't at all like that. It was like, "Can I get away with kissing him and no one's gonna notice?"
Oh my God.
Don't mention names. Don't mention names.
Okay.
But you know it's yeah. Like we were watching a fight the other day, and there was
fight that Tyson Pedro was.
It's too late now. I can't talk about it now. You've just given too much away.
I didn't know. I didn't say which one he was in. He's been in 13.
But you're not. No, come on. It doesn't matter. It's too late.
Okay.
So Turkalj against Tyson Pedro. What do you reckon?
Okay, I reckon that they gave this fight to Tyson Pedro to be like, dude, last time we brought in a guy short notice that we signed that, you know, was kicked out of the UFC and re-signed him so you could beat him.
And you didn't.
And you didn't. You better beat this one.
Yeah. It's
That's what the fight kind of seems like to me.
a little bit. Like, I don't know. I actually looked through his record because I didn't feel like, after watching him on the Contender Series, I didn't really feel like Turkalj had really been tested a great deal in his early career, just purely based on how he was fighting and some of the decisions he was making. Like, I've heard his name around for a while. I remember him having that grappling match against Gustafsson, and he had a long amateur career as well. I mean, you know, he started off really well. 2015, he was on what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he was on a 7-fight win streak before he picked up a split decision loss. And he's got lots of submissions on his record: rear naked chokes, triangles, darsas. He's got a good variety of stuff. But then in his last couple of fights, he's just looked, I don't know, he does weird stuff, and his takedowns are like floppy and
he drags them.
Yeah, it's like
drags them. Well, something that Laura
like
Senko actually had mentioned. She's like he's figure fouring his legs, but if he just extended it and went on to the other leg, he would have a lot more success in what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it's like he's got the idea of what he should do sometimes, but he's not actually got the technique of how to do it. Or he's not applying the technique correctly with his body type because he is kind of long, and I feel like he should be good. And the other thing as well, that like it's been 3 fights now. I mean, maybe not the Gelton Almeida one so much because that was predominantly on the ground, but certainly in the Contenders and in his last fight against Petrino, like he just leaves his head right on the center line. Like every time he throws a kick, he gets cracked in the face. Like, how do you not watch a fight back and go, you know what? Every time I kicked him, he punched me in the face. How could I stop that happening?
Because you see it more when you're watching it from the outside than when you're feeling it. Sometimes you might not feel like you are doing that.
Yeah, but if he's not watching his fights back, like he's very sloppy in a lot of different ways. Awkward, but sloppy. You know what I mean? Like he's vulnerable when he's stepping into strike. What he could do is just tangle Tyson Pedro up. He could like drag him down and win rounds by being on his back but not subbing him.
Yeah.
Like he did a lot of grappling against Santos in Contenders without much coming of it. Mm-hmm. Like he spent 5 minutes winning the grappling exchanges, right? Like, and this is the thing I always say, like if you're in a position to strike. Like striking accumulates, right? Winning grappling doesn't accumulate. Striking accumulates, right? You can exhaust somebody with grappling, but you're also expending a little bit of your own energy doing the same thing. So instead of expending a little bit of energy, making them expend a bit more energy, I'm going to expend a bit of energy doing damage to them that they're going to carry for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that was a unanimous decision, but if he'd have thrown a few shots in the first round while he was in control, he would have done more damage to Dos Santos, and
he would probably won the fight.
He would have probably subbed him.
Yeah.
But like, he's just not. He just doesn't. So it could be quite a slow fight. I feel it could be quite frustrating.
Well, that's kind of what he would want to do against Tyson Pedro, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be that?
But it's going to be kind of. Oh, like Tyson Pedro needs someone that's going to stand and trade with him, like, you know what I mean. And this guy will for a bit, but most likely Tyson's going to crack him when he's on one leg while he's kicking.
Yeah, after a lot of body shots.
Yeah, because hasn't Tyson had knee surgeries and stuff?
Yes. So that fight, his last fight, was him coming off an injury.
Yeah,
I believe, and I think that might have played into, you know, the way he managed his energy during the fight. I think in his mind he was like, "Oh, you're coming in short notice. This is a really easy fight for me. There's, you know, you've been brought in for me to win." And he did a front flip off a De La Riva hook.
Yeah.
Like, are you?
Yeah.
And then why are you tired? Well.
Yeah.
It was something that because we kind of watched it together, and something that you mentioned was that he's expending a lot of energy because he's rushing through it. Like, he was trying to collect the legs. He was in side control, and he was trying to go back. You know how you block the hips so the knees face the other way?
Yeah.
He was doing that, but he was like half doing it.
Yeah, he was rushing through positions. He wasn't settling and solidifying. He was jumping to the next thing. So it was like he was like kind of like the top game version of what fighters do when they land a good shot and they get excited to try and get the finish.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm in top position. Like, let me pass to half guard. Let me pass to side control. Let me go to mount. Let me take his back. And it's like, I need to hit all of these positions, or I need to just keep moving from one position to the next. When in actuality, like, you don't need to move from one position to the next unless the referee tells you to progress your position. And do something doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to go from half guard to side control. It means that you've got to do something in half guard if you want to stay there, right? And there were loads of positions where he could have just settled down for a minute and landed a few shots and then thought about passing to the next position. But because he was rushing, he was kind of like slowly spiraling himself back up to the feet because he was losing control as he was going through.
Yeah.
And I feel like Turkalj, I'm not mad excited about him generally the way that he fights. Like, I think there's a lot of holes in his game, which makes me find him quite frustrating to watch. But seeing what he did against Dos Santos in Contenders, like, if Tyson Pedro starts getting overly excited, he's going to end up getting swept, and then he's going to be on the bottom in a grappling exchange that he didn't want. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, he'd be better to keep this one striking and pick him off from a distance. We haven't done stats, have we? 9-4 for Tyson Pedro, 8-2 for Turkalj. 1 inch height advantage for Turkalj, 1 inch reach advantage for Tyson Pedro. The reason why this came to mind is I just wanted to check takedown offense. So 52% takedown offense for Tyson Pedro. Like, Turkalj's got a 51% takedown accuracy.
Yeah, but Tyson's never won a fight gone past the first round.
That
was something that the commentator said, and you're like, oh, that's not a good stat.
No, it's not. No.
But I bet he's learned a lot from his last fight. You know, there's a lot of lessons to take into it, kind of like energy management and, you know, being overly excited and being out for a while and to be a bit more focused. And you are that good, and you have, because I remember when he had a giant amount of hype behind him, and then it kind of fizzled a bit when he lost to St. Preux, Rua, and Iri Latifa. But before that, it was like, oh, this guy's really good.
Yeah. I think he is good. I mean, he came into the UFC early, and he's still young in his career. Like, when was it he made his UFC debut? He was only a few fights into his pro career.
It was 2016.
Yeah, so he was 4-0.
Yeah.
He was 4-0. Jeez. Which way are you going? How are you picking it?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pedro.
Yeah? First round stoppage.
It has to be. Or a third round decision for Anton, which, I mean, now that I mention it.
Now that you mention it.
Yeah, no, I just think Tyson's explosive enough to get out of these situations.
Yeah.
That
For a round.
For a round, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking Tyson. I feel like I've seen Turkalj get hit too many times throwing low kicks, and I feel like Tyson Pedro is gonna have
Be a good enough striker
Yeah.
to capitalize on it.
Yeah, bam, bam, down the pipe, TKO on the floor,
Yeah.
early finish. That's what I'm expecting. Okay, Justin Tafa against Austen Lane. So this is a remake of a remake. So Justin Tafa is a big puncher. He's been in the UFC for a little while. He's kind of up and down with his success. Knockout loss, knockout win, split decision loss, unanimous decision loss, head kick win, counter left knockout win. And then he fought Austen Lane and got poked in the eye, and it was bad. I mean, they could have called that quicker. He was literally like bleeding from his eyeball. They were like, just wipe that blood away and let's have a look at his eye. It's like, his eye is bleeding. It was bad. It was bad. And the thing is as well, he would have carried on if he could, but that was...
Yeah,
it's because he was moving on to it as well, wasn't it? It was like
he just went.
Yeah. Eyeball. But yeah. So they're fighting again. The last one was an unintentional eye poke at 29 seconds, 30 seconds into the first round.
But it just wasn't looking good for him, those 29 seconds.
No, I mean, the thing is, like Austen Lane, so let me quick stats. Let me quick go through stats, because there's a decent height advantage here and reach. So Tafa is 6-3 with 1 no contest. Austen Lane is 12-3 with 1 no contest. Austen Lane has a 6-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. I mean, Junior Tafa, of course, he is that archetype of Mark Hunt, tied to Tuivasa. I'm going to close you down. I'm going to crack you with a big shot. And I can hang with heavyweights because I'm carrying extra weight on my frame that,
Yeah, I can absorb anything coming my direction if I block.
And then you've got Austen Lane, who is a legitimate heavyweight-sized individual, 245. So he's going to be the lighter of the two fighters because Tafa's always right up at the top of the limit. But as long as he can keep space, he should be able to use his reach to pick him off and kind of keep stinging him. It's just when Tafa gets you backed up against the fence, or if you run into Tafa's range and like Austen doesn't need to do that because he's got the height and reach advantage.
Yeah, and in their last fight, before it got stopped, I feel like his use of body kicks and body work was really efficient.
Yeah.
Like that's something that Ciro did to Tuivasa.
For sure.
He attacked the body over and over again because, that it's not really
You'll get through eventually.
It's not really like that.
Something's going to hurt.
and it takes away your cardio.
Yeah.
As well. So it doesn't only hurt you, but you're out of breath.
Yeah.
And for somebody who wants to crack you with a punch, to be out of breath is not it's not a good, start point to whatever you want to land. So
obviously the stats are a bit off. Austen Lane's average fight time is 2 minutes. Justin Tafa is 5 minutes 22 seconds. It's going to be a pretty quick one, I think. I don't expect this one to last too long, unless they get into a bit of a rut where neither wants to engage, because Tafa can't step forward without getting jabbed in the face by Austen Lane, and Lane doesn't want to open up anymore with for fear of getting clubbed unconscious.
Yeah, and I felt like he was doing that great in the last fight, utilizing his kicks, keeping his range. He's a big guy, and he's a big guy that uses his techniques explosively in the right direction, and I don't see him cramming himself or in the fight. He keeps his range. He knows he's big, he knows he's explosive, and he utilizes that a bit like Ciro utilizes that as well. But
and kind of what he did to the guy in the Contenders, Jacoby. Which way are you going?
Does Justin club him, or do you go for the more logical pick?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know if it is the more logical pick because it's I don't know. Like my recollection of tall, rangy guys fighting like rotund, heavy punchers is the likes of Mark Hunt and Roy Nelson, and I mean Derek Lewis. He's a little bit taller, isn't he? But like knocking out taller people because they can back them up and pitch over the top. Like, that's my concern here for Austen Lane, is that if Justin Tafa's like, right, I've got to get inside this jab, and he does get inside, and Lane's squashed up against the fence.
Yeah.
Then he's kind of upright, and he's a lot of his technical ability has been nullified. I don't know.
I think Bodywork's gonna get it done for Lane.
You reckon? Yeah.
Oh.
What?
That's a good nickname for Lane.
Oh yeah. So go on. Then what would you pick?
Lame.
Oh, of course, from the movie. Okay. We'll watch it.
You didn't set me up correctly.
Sorry.
This was supposed to be really funny.
Sorry, was it supposed to be really
funny? You ruined
funny?
it for me. I thought of it yesterday. I was so excited.
It's kind of funny that I ruined it, to be honest. Now, look. So
I'm glad I jabbed.
We were watching these fights the other day. We were watching Austen Lane, and I don't know where my mind goes sometimes. But I said to you, what would be a good nickname for him with his last name being Lane? Yeah. Thinking you were going to say Fast or Bus or I don't know, whatever.
Why would I say Bus?
Bus Lane.
Yeah, but why would I even say that?
I don't know. I'm just kind of like what would be a good nickname for him for what was the other guy? Pogus.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus. That is the best nickname for that guy. What was his? I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Pogus. Like sometimes you have to play these games. What would be a good nickname? What would be a good nickname for Austen Lane? And then you said if he loses the fight, Justin Tafa should say that he should change his name to Lame, like off Anchorman 2. That was the reference. But you've got to set it up as well. That was, you know what I mean? I can't do all the work for you
just
here.
thought of it because his Tapology's up, and I was like, Lame. The joke.
my name's Jug Lane. That's a great movie.
I didn't know how to cue me up.
That's such a good movie. Just the best clip in it. I could watch it on repeat. Is the slow motion rolling in the Winnebago when they thought auto like cruise control would do the driving as well. Yeah. And they've got scorpions and bowling balls and like a deep fat fryer with fries in it, and hilarious, brilliant. Okay, which way are you going? You're going Austen Lane, are you? Oh, come on. Get it together. No. Get it together.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna go with Justin Tafa just because why not? I feel like he's gonna come in angry because he got poked in the eye in his last one. He's gonna come in.
Yeah, maybe, and he's like, "This is my home."
Wham!
Who knows? In my home.
Who knows? Has Austen Lane lost by knockout before?
Yes.
He has. Okay, yeah. Vernon Lewis. Greg Hardy stopped him. Oh, yeah, you see.
Yeah, but that was really far back in his career. I feel like he's evolved.
He was 4-0.
Yeah, okay. Now he's a lot more.
Well, I'm gonna go with Tafa then. Okay. Manel Kape against Felipe dos Santos. Felipe dos Santos, who's got how many nicknames? How many names, I mean?
Yeah, it was weird. I was looking it up on YouTube, and it was a lot of different names kept showing up as what his name was.
What was the one I was watching the other day?
Lipe something.
Yeah, there was one I was watching the other day, and it was Felipe. It's not even close. Yeah, Lipe Daytona.
Yeah.
There's a selection of names, and if you were,
that's his nickname, I think.
I know, but that was the name that was on the bottom of the screen as well while he was fighting. It makes no sense, but it happens a lot. Like this happens a lot. There's quite a few.
Blood Diamond.
That's not the same. I hope he produced legal documents to prove that was his name to the UFC. Ridiculous. So
he's like a little Charles Oliveira.
He is like a little Charles Oliveira.
He looks like he's watched him off the mat and just been like, when I grow up, I want to be Charles Oliveira. 100. And he's copied everything.
He does everything,
like from the way he brushes his teeth, just all of it. Like the guard, the random switch knees,
It is. It's really odd. I'm even just watching the little thumbnail on YouTube.
Even the way he holds his hand.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
it reminds me of that Instagram kid that keeps copying the knockouts. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
I think his name's like Poppy something.
Yeah. See, the good thing is that he's copying someone that's very good. So he's copying the right things. The bad thing is that he's picking up the same bad habits that Oliveira picks up as well. He runs onto big crosses because he's upright and his head's not off the center line. And the other thing as well is like like similar to with Justin Gaethje, like he can go 17-0, knocking people out with that style until he runs into the top elite, and then it becomes very, very difficult, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Oliveira is in that situation where he's going to beat the vast majority of people, but in that top bracket, they're the ones that are going to punish him for the mistakes that he makes.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is that fight. Like Manel Kape can do that to him. Manel Kape is going to be able to read him and pick him off, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. I mean, it may well steal the show because this kid Felipe comes to fight. Yeah,
he go like if you just
Manel
go watch
Kape's
his
good.
previous fights. They are a lot of fun because from start to finish, he's going. The one he had, I don't know if it was.
The one that comes
Fabula
up first when you search. Montoro.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
Rafael
fight
Montoro,
was
Brazilian
crazy.
Fight Series 10. That's the top one that comes up when you search, but it's under a different name. That's Felipe Daytona. It's a really good fight. And he moves a lot like Charles Oliveira.
It's just like what?
Yeah. It's even his little kind of rhythm that he's got and everything.
Even the random jump knees.
The random jump knees.
It's
See,
just
that's
like, "Wah, jump knee."
that's exactly my point. The randomness of it. He's learning the bad traits as well.
But I feel like
he's the same gym though, isn't he?
Yeah, they're from the same gym. But I feel like he's probably learned it, but not why. Because sometimes
Yeah,
this
that's
has
what I'm
happened
saying.
to me.
He's
Sometimes
mimicking,
I copy people and I don't really know why they're doing it. So I think I'm doing the same thing, but they're doing this to set something up, and I'm just doing it to copy, and then I get punched in the face.
Yeah, for sure.
Happens a lot.
Like, for me, Manel Kape, I mean, he's got a lot of experience difference as well. Let me just pull up the stats so we can have a quick look at that. There's a big chunk of experience.
Before we go on to him, Felipe dos Santos, he was supposed to be fighting in the Dana White Contender Series. So he cut and made weight, but his opponent didn't. And then on the same day, he told him, "Oh, you can come and fight Kape," because Kai Kara France pulled out because of concussions. So that's who.
That's a shame. That would have been a good fight.
Yes.
Kape against France.
So that's why he's coming in for the fight, because he was supposed to have this Dana White Contender Series fight, and he stayed in Vegas to then go because he didn't want to go back to Brazil to then go because it's not really a lot of time.
Right. So we've not got complete stats, of course, for Felipe because he's not been measured yet. He's listed on Tapology as being 5'7", though, which would give him a 2-inch height advantage. So Manel Kape has a record of 18-6 compared to Felipe dos Santos, who is 7-0 with 1 no contest. So Manel Kape's 5'5", dos Santos on his Tapology says 5'7", so there's a 2-inch advantage there. I would imagine that their reach is probably quite similar because even though Felipe's the slightly taller one of the two, I feel like Manel Kape's got very broad shoulders, and I feel like that's going to kind of balance that out. But we'll see when they do the stat read. For me, Manel Kape is a very, very slick fighter, and I feel like he came into the UFC with a lot of hype. Let me just pull up his record because he was fighting in Rising. He got wins over a couple of really good fighters.
Yeah, okay. His UFC debut was against the current champion. Let's say that as well. He did lose, but it's against the current champion.
Where's that? Yeah. So he fought Pantoja and Nicolau straight away, like 2 really, really tough fights. But then he went into the Ode Osborne fight where he stopped him with that flying knee, and then against Zhumagulov as well, who's a tough individual. I think he's kind of found his rhythm. Like he picked up those first 2 losses. Now he's got his 3 wins. He's got this young upstart of a kid who he's going to give him a bit of space to begin with. He's going to read what he's doing. He's going to go, oh yeah, Oliveira does that. Oh yeah, Oliveira does that. Oh, when Makhachev did this to Oliveira, he landed, bang, done. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm feeling
Kape
like Manel Kape's going to catch him.
He's a more mature fighter,
Way
so
more.
he's going to be able to set things up. Especially, he's not making his UFC debut. He's been planning for this fight. He's not going to have that excitement that my life's changed. I'm in the UFC. He's not going to have any of that. But the only thing with Kape is that sometimes he just kind of starts showboating and gets caught.
Yeah.
He's like really mature and measured and everything, and then he just kind of gets distracted. I don't know what.
There might not be time in this fight, though. If this kid fights at the same pace that he has been in his fights before the UFC, Like, he might just be in Manel Kape's face in his range, especially because it's his UFC debut and he's like, you know, he's carrying that shoot box flag. There's a responsibility there to fight a particular way. You know, it's like having a nickname, The Damage. It's like, if you're the god of war, you got to bring war in every one of these fights. You fight for shoot box.
Yeah.
Right. Here's Vanderlei Silva's highlight reel. Remember this. You know
Before
I mean?
you walk out.
Yeah.
I think Kape's such a good fighter.
Yeah,
I was really surprised while watching him.
Is he ranked?
Yes, but it was just when he was fighting. I noticed that he was like pulling people onto shots, and he was setting things up, and it was more of a storyline, a bit like how Adesanya does.
Yeah,
you know, sets you up with feints, with movement to walk you onto certain things. It's not so much of a we're going to throw down punch for punch.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he's intelligent when he fights.
For sure. He's ranked 10th.
And he has power.
He's ranked 10th at the moment. This is a huge opportunity for Felipe.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine if he comes in and just jumps straight into the top 10. He's 8-0 and he's
flying
in the top...
triangle.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine. Yeah. So which way are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kape.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Kape. I'm excited to see this kid, though. I just
Portugal as well?
Oh, of course he is, yeah. It just might be a little bit too quick of a step up for him to fight Manel Kape at this point, but you know, still young in his game, so we shall see. But I feel like Manel Kape's going to find his chin and put him away pretty quickly. Okay, co-main event: Tuivasa against Alexander Volkov. So UFC stats: one of these will have a reach advantage, one of them will have a circumference advantage. So, Tuivasa, 15-5 is his record. Alexander Volkov. It took a minute.
It didn't take a minute, but that was so subtly.
Alexander.
Suddenly, like,
are you doing the stats
him.
or what? I didn't teep him. I lose my foot. No, Ty likes good banter. He knows what it's all about. Tuivasa, 15-5. Alexander Volkov, 36-10. A massive amount of experience for Volkov. You need to get it together. You're all over the place. He's got so much experience, Volkov. He's a tall, rangy, confident striker. We've talked about this quite a bit this week. Like, there's a difference between someone who fights, someone who's a tall person, who's someone who fights like a tall person. And it might seem like an odd thing. He's got a win over Goltsov as well. That's a solid win, especially given where Goltsov's at right now. There are a lot of tall fighters that never learn how to fight tall. And that might be because there aren't enough tall fighters that are retiring that are passing on tall fighter techniques, right? Like, I'd imagine if you were a tall fighter, Henry Hooft would be a good person to go and train with, right? Yeah. Because especially when he was competing, he would have been a lot lighter than he was, which means he would have been a lot taller than most of the fighters that he was up against, right? Like, a lot of the time I see really, really tall fighters with someone who's like 5'6", like holding pads from like that. Like, there's no way that person, unless they have a really good understanding of the overall game of MMA, and often they don't even have a good overall understanding of striking. So, you know what I mean? They're not going to be able to take MMA into context and apply it. Like, people aren't teaching tall fighters how to fight tall, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of tall fighters that, and I'm going way back to the likes of Gan McGee and like Tim Sylvia. Like, no one was teaching them how to fight tall, so they never really understood how to properly use their reach. Like, that's what Tyson Fury is very good at, and what's going to make it difficult for Ngannou to get close to him is he knows how to fight long. He knows how to extend his range and make the most of his length, and even slides his gloves off. Did you see that when he was doing that? Was it against Deontay Wilder? He slid his gloves down so they were on his so they weren't on his fists.
So he can get longer reach.
Yeah, there was a photograph like that where the gloves are like over here, like whipping back. Anyway, that's illegal, but still. But the point is, like there are a lot of tall fighters that don't know how to fight tall, right? And I can't say the same thing for Volkov. He knows how to fight like a tall fighter.
He's also confident when he walks about his height.
Yeah,
that's something with tall people. Tall people are always like, oh, I don't want to be so much taller. And everybody goes, how's the weather up there? And they go, I haven't heard this my whole life.
I've got to stop making tall jokes about it. I've got to stop referencing the fact that Stefan Struve is massive. Every time I see him, I'm like, I feel like I
He
can't
just-
even say it. I'm like, dude, you're massive. You're like,
Yeah, I know. Like, well, what does he expect? Well, he
be
just
cold
says
up
I'm
there.
like,
he's like,
super
yeah.
short.
well, you are.
He's like pathetically short. I'm like, okay.
But like this is where I feel like Tai Tuivasa's he's either gonna do really well because he's good at getting inside. Like he stopped Struve, didn't he? Didn't he knock him out in Fight Island? Am I thinking about the right thing? Yeah, Struve.
Yeah.
First round knockout. Like he is very good at closing taller fighters down and getting to them. But then if you've got a tall fighter that knows how to fight tall and knows how to keep people on the end of their reach.
Those knees and those front kicks to the body.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the first thing I think of Volkov. When I picture Volkov, I just imagine somebody kneeing somebody else in the body. Nasty.
Front kicks and
Just-
knees.
Ugh.
Yeah, I think he's a very, very good fighter. And if the Derek Lewis fight hadn't have happened, then there was a better possibility that Tai Tuivasa was going to catch him in the last round when he was already on the home straight in his mind, thinking he'd won the fight. Because let's be honest, like it was a great turnaround for Derek Lewis to crack him and knock him out. But mainly the reason why it had happened was because Volkov was getting sick of hitting him.
Yeah.
Right? Volkov was like, okay, how long left? How many more seconds have I got to bang? Right?
Yeah.
He was kind of taking his eyes off the prize because maybe similar to what you were saying about Rose. Like in a pressure situation where it was a more competitive fight, he would have been more switched on and less likely to get caught. Does that make sense? Like he wasn't giving Derek Lewis the respect in that last round that he was still dangerous. And he's not going to make that same mistake again, which means it's going to be even less likely for Tai Tuivasa to exploit that window of opportunity.
Plus his last fight, that was rough for Tai Tuivasa.
His last two have been bad. His last two have been rough. I mean, he's coming off that Pavlovich one, who just looked like someone had driven a car into his face.
Yeah.
In under a minute, Pavlovich had done a lot of damage, and Cyril Gam beat him up, like kicked him to the body,
But
jabbed
kicked
his
him
face
loads
off.
to the body. Loads to the body. And that's something that I see Volkov can do better than Cyril. That particular aspect of the game, like those teeps and those knees to the body, I feel in the heavyweight division that Volkov is the best at doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And he has the best reach to be able to do that as well. Like, because if he was any taller, I think he would lose some of his strength. I think
then it would come over to like the slouchiness. But when he walks in a room, he just walks like
he's just
tall.
a big dude.
Yeah,
He's just
like
really,
I'm just.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, it's like what does Tai Tuivasa do here, right? Because if he loses to Volkov, it's kind of shut him out of the top 5, right? Like there's no like who else does he fight that's going to get him close to a title shot in any time soon, right? Like Aspinall's not going to fight him. Curtis Blades, maybe. Is Curtis Blades matched? I'm not sure whether he is. But like the guys above him, like Stipe's not going to fight Tai Tuivasa. He's probably going to fight John Jones and then retire, or maybe just retire, right?
Yeah.
Is that matched? Is Jones Stipe matched?
Yeah, it should
It
be.
is.
And Gelton Almeida is fighting Curtis Blades in the Sao Paulo card.
Okay. You see that? See now, then you've got someone that most likely is going to leapfrog Tai Tuivasa,
Yeah.
right? Because like Gelton Almeida's
If he gets
serious
past
problem.
Curtis Blade, he's
He's right
Up
up there.
there, yeah.
And then imagine that as a heavyweight lineup with Gan, Pavlovich, and Almeida.
I'd put
and
Almeida
Aspinall.
versus Pavlovich, Aspinall versus Cyril.
Main and co-main. Aspinall, Cyril main event. Jailtown against Pavlovich, co-main.
Yes, that's a massive jump. But wasn't Sean O'Malley ranked like 10 and then he fought for the belt? Okay, it doesn't matter.
It is a
If
massive
you-
jump, but then you've got a kid coming in to fight Manel Kape who's not ranked at all.
Yeah,
so
and he's number 10. Okay,
just make
none
it
of
up.
this
Just-
even matters.
we can do what we like.
Exactly.
Do what we like. Yeah, I mean, you've got like aside from that, like a lot of the other heavyweights are either kind of they're holding their ground, but they're not progressing. The likes of Marcin Tybura and Rosenstrike, or they're just not like I just don't see Romanov or Delima breaking through. But then we've got a few heavyweights that are surely going to be retiring soon here as well. I mean, Stipe's got to be within a fight or two.
Yeah, but so is Jones.
Yeah, but not because he has to be.
No, because he's
right?
just sick of
just
it.
because this, yeah. Why would you hang around to see what Gelton Almeida's like to fight? I don't think I would want to.
Yeah.
Front kick me in the face and take me down.
Not even that. Like, there gets to a point where you get tired of going to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to. You just want to.
Is that what it is?
Down.
It's just. I'm just
tired of work because for me to show up and be all great. Do you know how many sprints I had to do? Do you know how many other training?
She's had a really hard week of training. She's had a really hard week of training. She just needs to have a moment. She just needs to let you all know.
Leave me alone.
Gotta do sprints and I gotta do air dyne. I hate the air dyne. Let me actually tell you something about the air dyne, right? I've never witnessed this before in my life. Like, you're like, what, 140 pounds or something, 138 pounds, whatever.
Okay, you
something
could go
around
lower.
there. Well, I could do, but you're about like it's that's a low number. You're very light. You're very small. I have to put 60 kilos of weight on the front of the air dyne to try and hold it down, and I still have to stand on it to hold it still when she's on it. Like when you're doing 10-second sprints, like literally the air dyne would fall over the pace that you go.
That's more that
I've
you
never
have
seen
a
it.
Bad air dyne.
That's like putting a flyweight on the front wheel and then holding it down at the same time. That's it's anyway. I just want to make that point. You've trained really hard this week. Very good.
John Jones has trained incredibly hard
for years, and he was banned for half of it.
Yeah, right.
They took his dick pills away from him.
He's sick of going to all these things. They keep changing the
lights in the roads in the place that he's at. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's red. I've got to go on one, stop on another. What?
I feel like he's just sick of it.
Sick of it all.
He just wants to be in a farm. Like there's because
he should be
boxer?
king. That's why he's sick of it. That's why he's sick of it because in years gone by, John Jones would have been king of the town because he can kick everyone's ass. Now he just has to stand guard outside Jackson Wink with his semi-automatic and his dog. Like, he is not happy with the current situation. He wants everyone to know he's king. That's why he's not going to stick around, because he's sick of it, because people should know he's king and not be arguing about it.
And not be talking about him running people over. Like, who cares?
Don't mention Francis Ngannou to me. I don't want to hear it. I'm the king. I totally get your point. I can imagine he is exhausted.
Like he's been going through that, and the thing with training, and something that Khabib talked about too. The life of a fighter, you're kind of like a prisoner. You kind of go and you train and you do have this time to go do other stuff, but in reality,
you're exhausted.
You're exhausted, and if you don't recover, your training partners that you got that nice takedown earlier today. They're waiting for later.
They're coming for you.
Waiting.
They've had their electrolytes and their creatine.
Exactly.
They're good to go.
They're gonna come.
And they're not in training camp, so they're not dieting.
No, yeah, and they didn't do the other 3 sessions that they're gonna show up there. And if you're John Jones, everybody that shows up, they just want to walk out and be like, "Did you see that sweep I got on John Jones?"
Right.
Okay, you got a sweep. Doesn't make you heavyweight king. All right, like calm down. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's exhausted of that. He's just sick of it.
So he's gonna fight Stipe and then call it a day. Is that what you're
yeah,
thinking?
then he's like, "That's it, man. Whatever. Invite me to some podcast. Give me some money." Like Mike Tyson. He's having a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, main event.
Go on then.
Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya.
Did we both pick? I don't feel like I made us. I don't think I made
Volkov.
Yeah, I kind of felt like we both picked Volkov. Not because I don't love Tuivasa, just because I don't feel like this is a good fight for him.
That little dance he does with his, after I secretly try to do it sometimes for myself because it's just so cool.
There's people. It's Monday. It's Monday now of fight week. There are people right now debating which shoes they're gonna wear because I want some shoes that I don't really love that much, but they can't be too trash because I'm gonna drink out of them. So I need to find the right balance of, I like these shoes and they look smart enough to walk around in for the first 6 hours of the show. But then at some point in the night, I'm going to take them off and the camera might find me. So I don't want some old battered, you don't want soles falling off them. I don't want the beer leaking out onto my shoes.
I wonder if you choose, because when you're choosing for tickets, you choose, where you're sitting down. Yeah. I wonder if the people that have that think of, Tai Tuivasa's fighting, let me get a good shoe out.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe they bring a spare pair of shoes in their bag. You know what I mean? Just in case, or just
You
one
don't
shoe.
want a wet shoe.
Don't want a wet shoe.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I lost a shoe at a Biohazard concert once, and when I got it back, it was rather drenched. I don't know what happened to it in the process, but it was wet when I put it on, and it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. I've also
Did you smell it?
No, of course not. That would be the worst thing to do. It was
You
beer.
don't know what it is.
It was
so you
definitely
smell
beer.
it.
No, it was definitely beer. It was drenched in beer for sure. But I have put muddy socks on and put them inside shoes that were muddy on the outside as well. That was at a Pantera gig. Music associated shoe catastrophes.
Volkov, for if you're
Volkov.
watching.
We're both picking Volkov.
For not personal
Went off on
reasons.
a shoe tangent there.
Okay. Israel
Okay.
Adesanya
do a
taking
glove
on Sean Strickland.
Love it. I'd drink out of these. I drink tea out of these. Imagine that.
That'd burn.
It's better you put your hand in. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. Yes, Adesanya
I already
against
said
Sean
who's
Strickland.
fighting. Yes.
You already said it. I've already done a war. It's like an hour long, the war room on it. Like I literally, when I finished, I was thinking that was about 30 minutes. It's kind of long. Went off on a few tangents.
I've had to watch it in parts.
Yeah, exactly. You have to break it down. It's a season, actually. It's not. This next season of War Room is all about Adesanya Strickland and how Strickland really should never be able to beat Adesanya, but he still might. He should
I know,
never.
I said
he should
that about
never be able to
Duplessis.
beat Adesanya, but he might. Yeah, but
that's a lot
but
closer
even more
than
so,
this.
like this is the thing. Like Duplessis, there's two different things going on here, right? First of all, Duplessis, you can see he's trying to improve his technical game, right?
Yeah.
You can see that he's willing to learn and to add new things to his game.
And he works hard.
And he works hard. And he wants to win, right?
Yes, more than anything.
More than anything. Like, Sean Strickland is more interested in making you lose than him winning.
And
because
making
in
jokes
his
after.
head, he is like the Anaheim version of Stifler, right? Like, it doesn't matter what happens in his life. It's already a catastrophe, and he's already failed. So as long as he can make you fail at the same time by being just good enough to smash your martial arts, that's kind of how I feel about him. He's like Tank Abbott and Stifler off American Pie. You know what I mean? He's like I don't care about anything enough to invest myself in it, but as long as I'm good enough to make sure you aren't good, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, he's just kind of got this anti-hero kind of vibe about him.
Yeah, and
I don't get that from Duplessis. I feel like he genuinely wants to be better and to win.
And he
Whereas
does
Strickland,
improve a lot between fights.
For sure.
He does improve. But Strickland, some people, for example, with Colby, they say that he's not like that if you speak to him, that he's actually nice or something.
Yeah.
I've never spoken to Colby. I don't know. I've spoken to Sean Strickland. He's worse.
Yeah. He edits himself for the public.
Yeah,
which is
very much.
Which is scary. Although if you read his Wikipedia page, there's it kind of lays out there what's going on.
Kind of goes back to what you're saying about his fighting style. He's gone and he's like, I should be in a trailer,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A whole bunch. I'm already doing better. Who cares?
Yeah, he doesn't care where he's fighting. He just wants to have a fight. Like the videos of him trying to talk people out of their cars and like, oh, what, you're gonna pull a gun? Oh, come on, man, like. You know what I mean?
And him just beating random people in the gym.
Yeah. He would get in a lot more fights if he lived in the UK. Like, a lot more people would take him up on getting out of their car, I think, to fight him. Because the thing is, the thing is, in those situations, people aren't getting out of their car because they don't know whether he's got a weapon. I mean, I know that's kind of similar in the UK, but it's not, like, the amount of stuff that comes up on my Instagram, and I don't know why, but of, like, one guy kicking another guy's car in a gas station and he just pulls out a gun and shoots him in the chest and walks off. I'm like...
Yeah, it doesn't really happen here.
No.
Ever.
Well, no, of course, because, you just never see handguns around here. But it's just, he's a very odd character and he kind of, no matter where he is, he's not going to fit in. And he's going to kind of intentionally not fit in. It's a little bit like how I used to be when I was at school. Like, I didn't fit in, so I kind of turned the volume up on not fitting in to make sure that you knew that I didn't fit in, right? And if you had a problem with me painting my nails black, then you had to say something to me and I was going to slap you for it.
Imagine
right?
you,
I'm like,
Tony Ferguson, and Sean Strickland in a school together.
We'd probably get on quite well. We'd probably be a pretty good fighting team against all the bullies in the school. But I don't know. I mean, Sean Strickland's on a different end of the spectrum to Tony Ferguson. Like, Tony Ferguson's like painting miniatures and reading comics and etc. Like Sean Strickland's like
The bully.
buying Doc Martens and going to Nazi rallies, and you know what I mean? It's a different kind of group. Like he's actively trying to aggress on the environment around him. Tony Ferguson is fine with the environment as long as it leaves him alone, right? And that's why Tony Ferguson has become the person that he is, with the cool guy shades from the prom, and like he's dressed like the bad guy at the prom.
Yeah.
20 years later, after prom's finished. Do you know what I mean? So he's like recruited the tough guy, things that he recognized from the tough guys at school, and he's kind of nerd armored himself with them. That's what, like, in the tattoo community in the US, they would call people that had their hands and neck tattooed before they'd had arms and chest, they would call it nerd armor. Because it's like, well, I'm like trying to look more like a tough guy by getting more visible tattoos. You know what I mean?
There's a few fighters that are like that, and it looks a bit strange.
Exactly. Like if you've got no tattoos on your arms or chest and you're going to get a hand grenade on the back of your hand, like just don't expect good things from your life. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's a good example of someone that just makes a bad decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I just kind of feel like Sean Strickland's like, he makes an effort to not give a fuck. Does that make sense? We should probably beep that out. Should we beep that out? I don't know.
Sean Strickland's
I'm
on
not
the
sure.
card.
That's
so
true. Yeah, we can do
he
it.
needs to, a bit more explicit.
It's like, but that's the kind of energy I get from him, and it kind of like I watch it and I'm like, well, like there's a strength to it because you can't tell him anything. He's like hard headed, but then I watch him in the corner and watch Nixick like chase him back and forth along the panel, going, dude, pay attention, listen. He's like he just doesn't want to know. And like someone raised it actually in the comments on the War Room. I saw it just before we started recording. And they said, well, yeah, but you can't say he's not a student because he went to train with Pereira after he lost to him. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily, that just means that he might just want to go and get one back on him. Yeah. Right? Like after I fought Amir Sadallah, he came to Syndicate to spar with me. And I didn't for a second think he showed up to like see if we could there was like a mutual benefit or like he could learn something from what I landed in the fight. It felt like he was there to try and like make himself feel better by going, hang on.
You just caught me that one time.
Yeah, I'm not actually as bad as I was when we fought. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Like for me, like that would be the motivation for Strickland. It's not like, you know what? I wonder how Pereira landed that left hook. That really got me really good. I can't imagine him being in that mindset where he's going to open himself up to go, how did you get that to work on me?
But do you think Pereira would tell him?
I don't think he'd speak to him. I just don't imagine Pereira speaking to him. I just can't imagine there's much of a relationship there. I would imagine that he went in to spar.
Yeah.
Like, let's work together because we both need sparring. Yeah, not like Strickland's gone to him to teach me what you've got because I've got holes in my game. I just don't think he's that person. I think he's just. I mean, I'm having a rant now. I've already done this for an hour on the War Room, but I might be wrong, but I just feel like he's the kind of person that he's not open to learn, which means I don't expect him to have. Like he was still doing the same thing that he got caught with Pereira. So surely he's not watched that fight and recognized that Pereira sold him the body shot, reached for it.
Do you think he's going to wrestle?
Oh, I don't know.
Because Izzy said the best thing you better do is wrestle.
But this is the thing: is if it was Duplessis, I would say yes, because Duplessis wants to win. I don't think Sean Strickland wants to win at all costs. I think he wants to win by Sean Strickland's way. And if that means that I'm going to walk you down and get beaten up for 15 minutes before I can get you up against the fence and start clubbing you when you're gassed.
But this is not just a fight to win. This is for the belt.
I don't think he cares.
It changes a lot.
I just don't think he cares.
When you see a paycheck come through, you care.
And that was the debate, wasn't it? Around whether the fight was going to happen, because if they were going to pay him the money or not.
Exactly.
Because he's the kind of person that would go, I don't want the belt, I want this money. Pay me this and I'll come and do it.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't like if you gave Gaethje the interim belt and he threw it on the floor, like why would Sean Strickland wear the actual belt? I just don't even think he would appreciate that status. He wouldn't respect himself enough to go, I'm the champion right now. He's just anti-hero about everything. He's like, you know what I mean? He's like, was he born in 91? He's like, so what is he, 9 years? I don't know. I just feel like he's got like such a young mentality. And it's always going to get in his way. He's always going to be tripping up himself because I don't care.
He doesn't
because
even
I was
show
born
up to
to
sparring
fail,
with
you know what I mean?
like a proper bag or something. It's just,
Exactly.
It's just a mess.
Exactly.
They're like cowboy boots or like some random thing.
Because he doesn't care.
What are you doing?
And even though it would make his life easier to get himself an actual training bag instead of cramming it into a Walmart carrier bag, it would make it easier for himself to do that. But he wants the Walmart carrier bag because he wants to show you that he doesn't care. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we had this conversation when we were starting out training camp, right?
Yeah.
Like, show me that you care about going to training. I want to see your bag packed. I want to see your gloves in it. I want to see everything that you're going to need for that session. And if the session takes a tangent and goes in a different direction, I want you to be prepared because I want you to be excited to go on those journeys. And he shows up every day to the gym. He walks back to his corner at the end of the round, making sure that they know that he doesn't give a damn what they've got to say to him. Like, the only person he gives a little bit of respect to is Chris Curtis. And I think that's because he's there for free. Honestly, I have debated this. I think he treats.
Think they became friends?
I think he
or something?
disrespects Nixick like he does because he's like, well, you're getting paid, so you can just put up with it. But I think because Chris Curtis shows up like out of the goodness of his heart to help him,
He looks like that
there's a
type
little
of
bit more
person.
like he kind of listens in a little bit. He's like, yeah, okay, fuck up. You know what I mean? Honestly, he's such a weird character. I find this fight really interesting, which is why the war room is so long, as you can imagine. I don't dislike him. I don't dislike what he represents. I think he's an interesting problem to discuss philosophically about MMA because he shouldn't be as effective as he is.
Yeah.
And 10 times out of 10, he shouldn't beat Adesanya. But he might. He might.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. But he might. Right? I really, really didn't think Paulo Costa was going to. I got so much heat that fight week. Do you remember? I was thinking they were going to attack me in the hotel because they were talking all kinds of shit. Like, I said he was going to look like a bodybuilder. What did he look like?
Yeah, it's
A
pretty
bodybuilder,
bad.
right? I was so convinced that Paulo Costa was emotionally going to crumble in the first 90 seconds when he realized that Adesanya was operating at a way higher level.
So what is the difference?
I don't think Strickland cares. That's why he's got a better chance than Paulo Costa, because he's like, so what? So hit me. So hit me. So what? So hit me. Like, he just bounces off him because he's there all day in the gym just absorbing and walking people down. Because he knows when he gets to that point when they've gone 5 minutes like Abbas or 12 minutes like Imavov or whatever, and they get to that stage where they're like, fuck, it's like running in sand and punching an inflatable punch bag. It's annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you could see with Abbas, he was pitching shots because he was like, this next one's going to land. And it wasn't, because he just...
But Abbas, the thing is, he made his debut in Paris, right? He had a phenomenal fight. It was 19 seconds. You front kicked the guy. It was over. So then to that, and then you see Strickland fight, right? You're like, the skill level I have, I'll run through this guy.
Exactly.
I have to beat him in under 5. Like, sometimes when...
It's not even
I don't know
that.
what happens to everybody.
It's not even giving himself a limit of time. It's not him going, this guy's so bad I should beat him in 5 minutes. It's this guy's so bad. And that's it. There's like a disregard that then starts to play into their game. That's my concern with Adesanya. I don't think he's going to do it.
But he didn't do it against Costa, so why would he do it against Strickland?
Because I think it's easier to look at Costa and see him as being dangerous than to look at Sean Strickland and go, he's actually dangerous. Like, for me, Paulo Costa just looks like he's been inflated.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like there's any substance to him. I think he's kind of funny. If it's him that's running his social media, I think he's quite funny. But I just like these, like, he's just a big lump that like has got some decent fundamentals. I don't really like, he doesn't have a good grasp of what's going on. Like, he doesn't, like, you could see in the Adesanya fight, he was so out of his depth. He didn't know what was coming. He was flinching to all kinds of stuff.
But a lot of people look like that in comparison to Adesanya.
For sure. But the difference is, like, you put Paulo Costa in that situation, you put Sean Strickland in that situation, and Paulo Costa spends 90 seconds starting to flinch, and then he catches a head kick and starts to bleed, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, how am I looking? This is not looking great. I look terrible here. I'm like, is my hair falling out? You know what I mean? He's like he goes through all this kind of emotional turmoil.
I don't want to be embarrassed.
Exactly. Sean Strickland doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care. That's why he shows up to the gym with a Walmart bag with his sweaty gloves in it. He's not bothered. And that's why he can get into Adesanya's range, because Adesanya's skill set requires respect in order for it to work. Right? Now, Sean Strickland knows that he twitches. So the pathways for Adesanya to beat him are there. But the thing that kept Paulo Costa from outside of the danger range for Adesanya was the respect of Adesanya's game. And Paulo Costa had that respect, especially after the first 60 seconds. Sean Strickland, I don't think he does. He didn't have that respect for Powhatan. Like, he literally followed him in circles, like cocksucker guard, the whole time. Like, do you know what I mean? But the thing is, and I saw someone in the comments as well. I do sometimes look at your comments. Someone questioning the fact that he got tied in the Imavov fight, and they both got tied in that fight. But Strickland looks untidy anyway, so you can't necessarily tell when he's tired. But
Who
he was
did you
tired
say that
in
about?
fight.
Somebody else. Derek Brunson.
Duplessis.
Yeah, Derek Brunson.
He looks untidy all the time, so you can't tell when he's tired.
Yeah.
But Sean Strickland was tired in the Imavov fight. He was. You could.
Well, he took the fight on like a 5 days notice on a different
like
weight
heavyweight.
class. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, so like, I could go off on this for another. I'm fascinated by this fight because everything about martial arts says Adesanya should just be able to beat him every time. Bap, bap, bap. There's plenty of routes through his game to be able to set him up and bap, and it should just get easier and easier and easier.
Yeah, I was thinking before this fight, like how would I picture Sean Strickland winning? And this might be a very dumb thing to say, but you know those horses where they wear the little things?
Blinkers.
Yes, so they don't get distracted by other things.
Yeah.
If Sean Strickland kind of blinkers his feints and just if it hits me, then it's real. If not, I don't react, or but then, a little bit more towards that.
But
area.
Again, for sure, absolutely. But he's not thinking about what he's doing when he's flinching for stuff, right? Like a lot of the time he's blocking stuff that wouldn't even hit him if he wasn't putting his arms out.
But his guard kind of gets in the way. Like sometimes when you fight awkward people and you're just like, well, I'm fast and I'm good, and then you're punching them and then their arm is all like in the way. Like get out of the way so I can punch you in the face.
Exactly. Right. But then if you look at his fight against Abbas, like Abbas was closing distance and hitting him with power shots, and Strickland was doing all kinds of weird stuff with his arms, and he reaches out and he smothers, and like he's very, very awkward. But the reason why he's developed those reactions is because they've worked for him in sparring. Like no one's gone, okay, when someone comes running at you with a 3-punch combination, the best thing to do is this. Because it's not. That's not the best thing to do. Like the best thing to do is this, or level change, or slip counter, or there's no education in what he's doing it aside from at the coalface doing it. It's like he's walked into a gym and put gloves on and started sparring, and no one's ever taught him how to strike.
Well, it's like playing a video game where you don't read the instructions, right? You just play until you kind of figure stuff out as you're playing.
And that's
you've been
what he's
playing
done
so many times.
27-5. That's what he's done. Fortunately for Adesanya, he did that in 80 kickboxing matches. So he went 75-5 against a whole bunch of people, knocked out 29 of them. So you've got a big chunk of fights there where he's getting that time to rehearse in the big gloves with people actually trying to take his head off, right? Like it might have even done a disservice to Sean Strickland that he did most of his amateur rounds in the gym with no one watching. He might have been better to put smaller gloves on and have a fight that was a slightly more higher profile. So maybe he cared a bit more, because his lackluster style of defending is maybe down to his mentality. Again,
I take a shot. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I keep saying it. It's a fascinating fight. 100 times out of 100, Sean Strickland shouldn't beat Israel Adesanya, but he might. I don't see it. I'm picking Adesanya. Especially because the times where Adesanya has struggled recently has been backed up against the fence with Alex Pereira. And Alex Pereira is not. Alex Pereira is a different beast to Sean Strickland, right? So even if Sean Strickland's up against the fence wailing on him,
like you could train with somebody, but it's not like a USB drive that you put onto them and then it like transfers onto you.
No, because since the knockout to Pereira, he's had 3 fights and he's made the same mistake in all 3 of those fights still.
Yeah.
Like
his guard does look a bit better though.
Does it?
A little bit.
Or does he just look a bit more confident so he's not as flinchy now? Right?
No, he stands
if you're confident in your guard stays tighter.
Like he's now a bit more side on, taking on a Philly shell.
But that depends on who he's fighting.
Okay.
Because Adesanya's going to eat his legs up, which means he can't stand side on Philly shell style because his leg will be too vulnerable. He has to do this kind of weird like Mirčić weighted on the back leg, but without this lead high guard, which is kind of here. Like I'm just can't be bothered. I'll put it there. You know what I mean? I mean, the benefit is that he just then pokes people with this lead arm, and that gets people because they don't see it coming because it's coming up from underneath their field of vision, which is what I was talking about with the difference in height. That height advantage is not necessarily an advantage. You come up under that field of vision, and that's what he's doing with that jab. Bap, bap. It's like James Toney. It's irritating. Catches you, stings you. Like, wow, where did that come from? I just don't think he can do it against Adesanya. For the love of martial arts. for the love of martial arts.
Please.
he just, you know,
it'll throw everything off balance.
We'll
throw the martial arts universe
slip into
off
a parallel
balance.
universe. If Sean Strickland wins the belt, we'll slip into a parallel universe. The hormone monsters will replace us. Oh no.
All right.
No, I feel confident that things are working out the way they should because the better striker last week won, and you know the odds were stacked against him far more than in this fight.
Yeah, but if they fought again, Aljo would.
I know. This is the thing. I think I said that on the War Room, didn't I? Like if they fought another 9 times, Aljo most likely would drown him for 8 of them.
Especially after him saying, "Yeah, I haven't grappled in like 6 weeks because I hurt. Was his rib or something?"
Yeah. But it was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was
awesome.
like if you play the game 10 times and you find the 2 ways where Sean O'Malley wins, that is the way. It's Aljamain Sterling overextending and reaching.
It's the Doctor Strange, and then all this for that one.
So, well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It was a good shot.
We're just gonna end it on that.
There's just so much more to it. There's so much more to it. Why are people not seeing that there's so much more to it? It makes me angry. Sorry, the channel has taken a slightly different turn as of late, I feel. I feel like I'm a little bit more ranty now than I was. Like when I was working for the UFC or working for BT Sports with now TNT, I was a little bit like, tone it down a bit. But now if I need to say something about a fighter, I can say it and don't have to do it in a nice way necessarily. And like the thing is as well with Sean Strickland, he's a great person to use as an example because he doesn't care. Like, first of all, he doesn't love MMA enough to watch this podcast. So he's never going to hear any of this. He ain't going to hear War Room. Unless someone cuts out a 5-second clip and puts it on the back of some chewing tobacco, he's never going to see it. Right? So it doesn't matter. But he is a good example of the level of mixed martial arts right now. It's like, for me, it's like I feel like he's holding up a mirror to MMA's striking level. And then I watch Canelo and I watch Lomachenko and I watch the Charlo and I watch Teofimo Lopez and I'm like, and I watch Rod Tang and I watch Haggerty and I'm like, what must they think when they're watching MMA? Like, why do they all think, you know what, I'm going to have a go at that. I'm going to tie up this boxing thing and I'm going to step over and have a go at that because that looks easy because they don't know what a jab feint is. Right?
Yeah. That
frustrates the hell out of me. Because, like, there are good strikers in MMA, but the message is not getting on, so the level is not increasing. And like, we've got good, like, Abbas, he's a good technical striker. If you wanted him to hold pads for you, he would be able to give you good techniques. But if you put him in a fight with someone that comes to fight like he's in the Walmart parking lot, he just, like what we're seeing. We're seeing the kid that pulls the kung fu move on the bully and then just gets slapped into the dirt. Right? That's what this is on a grander scale, right? It's like, don't learn that defense cap stuff because it's going to get you in trouble. You're going to get slapped by someone that's just bench pressed for the last 10 years.
In school.
Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? It's like yeah, we see the videos where the bully's going up to the kid and the kid slams the bully on the floor.
More times than not.
Exactly.
I see the karate move.
Wham! And the football player wins. You're like, well, that's because he knows how to run and tackle, and he's got a hard head. And you've been wearing pajamas for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like,
don't mess with my pajamas.
Hey, I'm a pajama kid myself. But the point is, I'm annoyed at the middleweight division for letting Sean Strickland get as far as he is with his skills unchecked. Like, he shouldn't get to Alex Pereira before someone checks his skill level in striking. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I feel like someone with the toughness and heart and determination that Sean Strickland has, even if it's just determination just to make sure you don't win, like, imagine what you could do with like 20 minutes of paying attention in the gym to a good coach.
Can you imagine like an Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman situation? But that's it.
Imagine if Sean
I would
Strickland...
just bet $10 on Sean, just in case. The odds are going to be ridiculous. Everybody's going to... Logical person is going to be like, Adesanya's going to win. So
you watch Sean Strickland coming as the favorite, because everyone's going to be like, it's so much of a long shot.
Yeah, just bet $10. I would. What are you going to win? Like,
yeah. Like, imagine it. Like, imagine if you could just sit him down. Like, dude, just drink this ayahuasca and just be quiet for an hour. Be like, look, there's Trevor Whitman's phone number. That's Wonderboy's phone number. You know what I mean? Like, there's Rafael Cordero's phone number. There's Phil Nurse's phone number. You can pick. You can call any of these guys.
Do you think they would even deal with the things that comes out of Sean Strickland's mouth?
Yeah, but no, he'd have to have a personality transplant. There's no doubt about it. But he would get better anyway. Like at the moment, he's only going to get better by default because he keeps walking onto the same punch at the gym. So he's going to figure out a way around it, right? His level could be expedited. The fact that he's got to this level doing what he's doing, I'm like, come on, man. Like, same with Tank Abbott. Like, there was frustration around him back in the day. Like, because he had everything that you would need, the natural resources, the raw materials to be really, really good at this. But there's just this kind of this blockade to anything evolutionary because he's already counted himself out because he's like born to fail.
That's what
his
Sean
tagline.
says. I'm like, I should be in the trailer park.
See?
Doing some heroin or something,
right?
You know?
He's like he's living on borrowed time. So we'll just write it to the wheels fall off. You know? And he just happens to be in a UFC world title fight. Madness. I find it crazy. For the love of martial arts, Adesanya has to win. Otherwise, we have to rethink the whole thing. Like, I'm not being dramatic, but we have to rethink the whole thing. Because, like, if Sean Strickland then eventually gets to Adesanya, then you're like, well, so there's a lot of stuff that we just... If we can do enough to stop you doing what you want to do, I don't have to do very much. I could beat you with a jab and a cross and a hook, because that's what Sean Strickland does. He's got good takedown offense. He's got good in-the-moment instincts. Like, he's very, very good at being present in moments where a lot of people fail, right? Like, Adesanya is very good at being present. We know he can scrap because we saw him against Kelvin Gastelum. Like, there are very few fighters, though, that are just there in the moment, just looking at what their opponent's doing and seeing their opportunities to snipe at them.
Yeah, but Adesanya's feints get me while I'm watching it on TV. Imagine in front of you.
Yeah.
You imagine if it got you while you were on the outside watching it and you're seeing how, like, subtle and stuff it is. It got to the point where I'm like, watching his fights. Imagine that in front of you when you've already been hit. You're terrified because this guy is...
But then say if he spends the first 4 minutes of the first round walking through it and not getting hit with anything that's really hurt him. He might be getting hit with shots that could potentially knock him out if they landed cleaner. But because he stands on his back foot and he deflects things with his shoulder and with his rear hand, nothing's quite landed clean enough. But Adesanya still spent that energy, still keep smashing that button to, let me keep throwing that kick because I keep nearly hitting him with it, right? I'll throw the pump feint to the kick because it nearly landed, right? And then it doesn't land. So for the first 4 minutes, Strickland's under pressure, and then the last minute he's like, oh, I'm all right now.
Yeah.
Then the second round starts, and he spends 3 minutes doing the same thing, walking through fire. Oh, I'm staying safe here. Meanwhile, Adesanya's still pressing the buttons and still using the nitrous and still exhausting himself. And then the third round starts, and he spends 2 minutes doing the same thing. Fourth round, 1 minute doing the same thing, right? Like, literally, if he breaks his game plan down like that, he's assuring himself that for 50% of the fight, he's going to be able to pressure Adesanya. It might be enough. He might be tough enough to take the shots. And we know he's got enough conditioning to be able to push Adesanya, I feel. Just because of how he fights, because he's so economical.
Yeah, but poor Anton is tough enough to take the shots, and he got knocked out. So
yeah, but then
punch. It doesn't matter if you're tough enough or not. You're knocked out
for sure. But then you go, okay, well, how much is he weight cutting, and is that the right weight class for him, etc., etc. I'm not at all in any way devaluing it.
But that's definitely a factor.
I've actually got this. I thought this was quite interesting because Adesanya's got 16 knockouts out of 24 wins, 29 knockouts out of 75 wins in kickboxing. So in MMA, he's landed 1,149 punches to 13 knockdowns, which means he lands 88.3 punches per knockdown. And Sean Strickland's at 179.6 per knockdown. So Adesanya is still the bigger puncher out of the two of them. Like, I don't necessarily think Adesanya is going to get hurt by Sean Strickland. I think he could potentially get overwhelmed, but not as quickly as Abbas did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, again, I'm just speculating as to how Sean Strickland could win, because like I said, I just for the sake of martial arts, Adesanya should win. He's bigger, he's taller, he's got a better range, he's got more experience, he's more studious. Like, he goes back to his corner and he's listening. He's like, okay, what can you tell me that I don't know? And we can put that together and use it against him. And that's why he's such a good champion. Sean Strickland is the antithesis of all that. And he would just turn everything upside down if he wins the belt. But I'm open to it because I'm forever learning. That's why my picks are 50% wrong, at least. Because, you got to learn. You got to learn. So you're going Adesanya as well? Or are you thinking Sean Strickland?
No.
Yeah, okay. It's a pretty easy pick, but I'm still going to be nervous watching it because I'm going to be thinking, you know what? Like, I might be completely overestimating the value of martial arts generally.
Tapology has 90% Adesanya, 10% Strickland, 47% by knockout, 13% by submission, and 35% by decision. The
fact that 13% of people voted a submission is for Strickland or
for
Adesanya?
Strickland. For Adesanya, 1% voted by submission, 66% by knockout, and 28% by decision.
Yeah, so Sean Strickland's not had a submission since his UFC debut, and I would be more inclined to think he would wrestle if he was fighting in a weight class that was more suited to him. At 6'1" and 76 inches, he's a big welterweight, really. He's a bit, he's probably, I don't know. I mean, he was a welterweight, wasn't he? But he's going to look more.
Way too much for a welterweight.
Yeah, but he's kind of caught between the two. He's a bit Chimaev in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few fighters that fall into that bracket where they could have that weight class in the middle. Like, if you made a 177, 178 weight class, that would be
the same as at the 162.
If he cared enough to make it. Yeah. Okay, I'm enjoying this this situation that Sean is creating in my head. I'm having conversations about it constantly in my head. I'm like, what? And just let me watch his fight again. Let me see if I can find something. But we're all here to learn, aren't we? Make sure you check out our sponsors, ElionParis.com. Fantastic gloves, fantastic pads, great kit. You'll love it. Great designs, especially if you're into anime. They've got a lot of partnerships with. Just go and check them out. Dragon Ball Z. Is that, one of them? Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z.
And Harney.com. Harney and Sons tea. You can see I've got to the bottom of this. This is the hot cinnamon spice. It's perfect for the winter months.
Yeah, there's almost no of the chai.
No, I know you've been getting to it, haven't you? We've got chai, we've got matcha, we've got, what's this one?
And even if you don't like, it's the prices are great. You can just go in, try a few bunch of different teas that you will never actually, that you wouldn't normally try. Go try some out. They're great. They're just high quality, good stuff. And the prices, we went over when we were in New York, and the prices they're really fair.
It's a really cool shop, isn't it?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh, that's as good. Black cask bourbon, smoky black tea with vanilla and caramel. Oh, yeah. Right, let's wrap this so I can get the kettle on. Thank you very much for joining us. enjoy UFC 293. I hope you enjoyed UFC Paris. We certainly did. Like and subscribe. We always forget to say that. Check out the War Room if you haven't already. And what else? Oh, and Jamie's new show. Top 5 future UFC champs. We've got another one coming this week. I won't spoil the surprise and let Jamie put that out when it's ready. A new series that we're going to start. So like and subscribe and give us a comment in that. Give us ideas. What are the top 5s you would like as well? You know, stick them in the comments because we can then start making content for you guys specifically. And I will get the live stream going eventually. I keep mentioning it. So we will get that started soon.
All right.
Good stuff. Right. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.